Hi, Harry. Thank you very much for joining us today. What we'll be doing is presenting you our research and findings based off the project you gave us about a couple weeks ago, along with Dan and Jansen. Before we begin, just want to give you a quick reminder that during the presentation, please hold all your questions to the end in case we do come across any of the questions you might have before it's finished. But on that note, let's go ahead and take it away, Jansen.
Good afternoon. Diving right in. So, networking is an essential component of the business tool bag, enabling entrepreneurs and business owners across all sectors to access everything from advice, support, new business partners, customers, and funding. When COVID struck, everything went digital. It transformed the networking experience, people's preferences, and outlook on networking, especially within healthcare. While it might have made some more efficient or effective networkers in Zoom breakout rooms with a set time limit, for others, the magic of face-to-face connections disappeared. Work-life balance post-COVID also created a shift in people's priorities. Yet today, there's a growing demand for a deeper level of networking that allows people to connect and develop relationships rather than just exchange contacts. Ultimately, a preference for online versus face-to-face networking varies by individual, but there's no doubt that networking is an essential tool for organic business growth, especially for entrepreneurs, startups, and small businesses that are looking to separate themselves from the competition. Face-to-face networking is the best way to build trust, raise your profile, and grow your network. The ability to look someone in the eye and read their body language can't be replicated through a screen. Today, people are happier to network in smaller, more intimate gatherings rather than huge conference-type events, and want to have a deeper, more direct conversation. And while some people quickly return to face-to-face events, inviting guests and encouraging new members has become more challenging. Creating a unique, out-of-the-workplace networking experience has become vital. In today's presentation, we will explore our research and findings on user needs and pain points. We will go over the issues that exist for both the business and the users in terms of event planning and organization. We will take a deep dive into our objective of improving HealthTech Hang's events in all areas. And we've broken the event down into 5 categories, including planning, the online sign up, arrival at the event, check-in, networking during and post-event. We will discuss HealthTech Hang's name tag, and then our testing and ideation for new solutions. And finally, we will go over our new service plan, other event ideas, next steps, and some of our takeaways. In taking a deep dive into the networking industry, we've learned that combining new surroundings, an itinerary of enriching events, conversation starters, and providing digital tools to connect attendees in new ways presents an opportunity to build successful business connections. Starting with who? HealthTech Hang hosts a variety of events, from happy hours, deep work days, evening lightning talks, dine and develops, and unconferences. What? HealthTech Hang brings together people from health tech, healthcare, capital, and enablers. Where? HealthTech Hang is based in San Francisco, but hosts events in New York, LA, Boston, and beyond. And why? To empower health tech innovation and careers through community and genuine connections. So our priorities included increasing overall event satisfaction, increasing adoption and use of their name tag tool, and increasing satisfaction with the name tag tool in future events. So our initial research revealed that users needed the opportunity to make specific connections and then explore the event for others. They wanted the ability to be able to choose between meeting people organically or through a more directed approach, but generally they appreciated having both options, and the ability to converse with minimal social friction. The pain points that arose included it being difficult to communicate in crowded and noisy spaces. Users found it difficult to identify the right people that they should talk to during events, and that users wanted to formally connect after their initial meeting and conversation, but thought that pulling their phone out and working through several screens was tedious and that it interrupted the conversation. In looking at our problem statement, we found that healthcare and health tech professionals need a way to connect organically or intentionally with common interest peers so that they can collaborate to solve their business needs. We broke down the problem statement into additional considerations, like how might we promote and foster the growth of HealthTech Hang events? How might we help people identify those that they're trying to network with? And how might we enable users to solidify connections without interrupting the flow of the conversation? Now we're going to take a look at our user journey. So this takes a look from the beginning to the end, from before the event through after the event. And just want to point out beforehand that the height of the curves of the waves you see aren't indicative of the sediment strength. It's just a binary positive or negative. And looking at some key points throughout the process, going into the event, people were generally happy and had a positive outlook with low expectations. Shifting into the early stages of the event, from sign up to arrival, the experience declines a bit as users felt that the sign up process was a bit tedious, and more importantly, users lacked necessary guidance upon arrival to the venue. We feel that this is super important to address because it most significantly impacts first timers, and then it impacts everyone if you're using a new venue. Thankfully, it's an easy issue to address with signage and help from greeters, and it's an opportunity to improve one of the few issues in the overall journey. Once settled in mingling, users shared a very positive experience with the ability to meet people from a diverse set of backgrounds, people from all areas of healthcare and health tech. And with the exception of the name tag tool, which in its original state was found to break up conversations longer than users had hoped, attendees had an overall really positive experience. And now I'm going to pass it off to Dan to take a deeper look at why that is.
Cool. Thanks, Jansen. So taking a look at the event overall, all participants in our research reported being at least somewhat satisfied with their last HealthTech Hang event. Specifically, people who are new to the health tech industry clearly see a lot of value in the happy hour format. Specifically, they find the loose event structure and sheer variety of attendees beneficial for networking. However, while attendees were mostly satisfied, there is still clearly room for improvement. For example, we most commonly heard complaints that the venue is just too loud to have meaningful conversations. The more veteran people in the industry stressed that they'd appreciate higher caliber attendees. These people are essentially joining the events to comb through the crowd, looking for specific people who can fill their needs. Despite this, attendees' recommend intent for the event is sitting quite high at 8.5 out of 10, suggesting that even with the helpful hour event's shortcomings, people recognize its great value for networking and see the potential for more. However, we do want to note that some of the industry veterans said they would definitely not recommend the helpful hours to higher ups in the industry due to the perceived low quality of attendees. They would, however, recommend these events to people that are new to the healthcare industry to broaden their perspective and learn more about the industry as a whole. In our research, we also aim to determine the best days to hold events. We asked folks to list their top 3 best and bottom 3 worst days to go to a networking event. These are the results. Despite the casual nature of the helpful hour events, the attendees do ultimately see networking as a form of work, and they want the weekends free of work. Monday and Friday are seen as transition days between work and leisure. Networking events on those days can cloud what may already be pretty hectic transition periods for them. Midweek evenings, on the other hand, are most ideal because people are still working or are still in the working mindset. It's important to note that our participants have already gone to HealthTech Hang events on those midweek days that they're held. So it's entirely possible that the data here doesn't generalize well to the full target audience. It's hard to say without more data. Most of the attendees knew how to get to the event space, but there were still some folks that had no clue and found themselves wandering the venue. Why? What did they expect to see? What questions did they ask themselves? They asked themselves, is this the right place? Is this the right bar? People expect to know where the venue is before arriving, but once there, they need confirmation. Now that I'm here, where is the HealthTech Hang event? space? What direction do I go to get there? After arriving at the venue, they hope to see a visual indicator of some sort about where to go next. Is that an event or is that just a large group? It's unclear. It's hard to know without clear event labeling. These are two variants of some signage we created to help answer those exact questions. This main entrance sign here, working from left to right here, the main entrance sign eliminates doubt and gives folks the confirmation that, yes, this is where you're meant to be. We also have a sign to tell people, this is how you get there. No wandering needed. Lastly, a sign for the entrance of the event space itself. This is your helpful hour. Come check in here. So the attendees, they've arrived at the venue and gotten to the event space, maybe with friends, colleagues, maybe not. What now? They're looking at people they may have never met, but want to talk to. Maybe they're nervous. Maybe they don't know what to say. Point is, this is an opportunity to facilitate social interaction and reduce that social friction however we can. Our research indicates that some attendees want to schedule conversations before the event. People want to save time by speaking only with specific people, and they're hoping to avoid the social friction that happens when moving quickly between conversations. We recommend providing event pass buyers with a list of registered attendees, allowing them to schedule conversations ahead of time. This would help facilitate smoother interactions, mainly for veterans in the industry that have more targeted interests. Well, and what other ways can we reduce social friction at these events? Well, all 6 of our participants interviewed in our second round of research told us that directed icebreakers by networking event staff are at least somewhat helpful for easing them into a comfortable dialogue. However, it's important that any directed icebreakers create meaningful conversation, no small talk. Attendees told us that philosophical questions related to the healthcare industry would make for good icebreakers. They're also interested in icebreakers that give them more personal info about the person they're talking to. They want to know, how does this person operate? How would they be to work with? Name tags can also ease folks into social interaction. And to understand how, we asked people what information they would like to know about a person before approaching them. The most common responses were name, role, at most a few words about the company they work for. What they don't want, however, is a substitute for personalized introduction. In that sense, a name tag that provides too much information seems less personal and more contrived. We also gathered feedback about the information on the current HealthTech Hang name tag and its presentation of info. In summary, attendees need larger text to see the info from further away so they can know who to approach. And they need to have to read only a little bit of text so they're not staring at people's chests for too long. We had a few people bring that one up. With that info, we modified the original name tag and asked participants to tell us which they prefer, specifically which content they prefer. All 6 of the participants we tested in our second round of research said they preferred the content in the revised name tag to the original. The main reasons were the large text and the decreased amount of text. There was also some interest in the identifier at the bottom here, but they found it redundant with the role info. In this case, that's the founder and CEO tag there. We didn't show the existing tutorial to participants, but we did want to take a shot at revising it with our understanding of the user's needs in mind. We made 2 major changes to it. First, the 4 panel was reduced to 2 to highlight that the process is competitive with simply connecting through LinkedIn. Second, we removed text that doesn't communicate why they should use the name tag tool and how to use it. Those are the most important bits of text there to have. If possible, we recommend placing the tutorial in a spot that's available for people to read while they're standing in the check-in line. Making our final name tag, we adjusted the spacing between the text to create a clear hierarchy of information. And to fix the redundancy of role info, we created 2 different variations here. The top one, that final one, has the identifier and its icon removed from the bottom, opting to have the info represented in the body. Final 2, the one below, removes the role text in the body, instead favoring a color coding system via stickers to match colors with roles. We recommend giving attendees the option to use those stickers or not. So we've covered the name tag, but how about its tool? Our data suggests that Most attendees never even tried using the name tag tool. Well, why not? It's likely that some didn't see the tutorial pamphlet or they didn't understand it. Others don't recognize the QR code on the name tag as something that helps connect people. We address that point by including text below the QR code that tells the user what scanning it will do for them. Scan to connect. Another reason people aren't using it is because they're getting recommendations to not use it. After making changes to the tool, it'd be worth announcing or making it known otherwise that the tool has been improved, that it's worth checking out, and that we'd appreciate feedback on it. So why are people recommending against it? Well, we knew at project outset that tool's page count and amount of text makes it cumbersome to use mid-conversation. And we heard the same thing during our interviews. Here we're looking specifically at the part of the event user flow that outlines the process for connecting with another person via the name tag tool or with LinkedIn, the latter being represented by that node there in the middle that's much shorter. Given the feedback we got, our team decided to eliminate as many of those bottom nodes in this flow as possible so that the tool is competitive with other means of connecting. Again, the length of the process is the main consideration there for the users. I'll pass things on to Duffy now to elaborate.
Thanks, Dan. We knew the issue revolved around reducing the friction attendees felt using the tool in the midst of conversation. Our initial solutions address this by reducing the number of steps, try to keep everyone on one page so the attendee can see the proverbial finish line right after they scan and see how they can connect right away, with the option remaining to send themselves a reminder email the next day. This led to our initial redesign. Here we had a LinkedIn linked up top, presenting them with their end goal right off the bat. Below, the scanner is asked to include a brief note about what they were connecting over. There's a button to send a note and an invitation to change your destination email on file. This is based off an assumption we made early on, which I'll be addressing shortly. I also want to point out that we addressed some feedback that the text was a little small for some users, so we made sure the text was about 14-point font all around. Last week, we reached out to more attendees of the Helpful Hangs to gain more insight into their experience and gain feedback of our new name tag tool. We performed preference testing, where we showed both versions of the name tag tool to audiences. Of the 6 people we spoke with, all 6 expressed preference for the newer design. When questioned about the length of the new version to gauge their friction, 4 of 6 said it was the right length, and 1 attendee said it was too long, comparing it about the same length as the QR code from LinkedIn. We also had 1 user express that, while the new version was the right length, they preferred the more guided experience of the current name tag tool. So let's compare this with the name tag tool's greatest rival at the moment, the LinkedIn app, and its own QR code, which are very much the industry standard. After navigating through menus, the user can present a QR code that will take someone directly to their LinkedIn page to connect. By comparison, scanning a name tag will take someone to a page where they can access someone's LinkedIn and send themselves a note. Of the 6 people we spoke with, 2 out of 6 saw the updated name tag tool as a better option compared to LinkedIn's QR code, and 4 of 6 said it was about the same. Of that same group of 6 people, 3 said that they were interested in using the name tag tool the next helpful hour, so long as the time tax was reduced. And another 3 said they were half committed, saying they considered depending on the situation they were in. Now, in the middle of last week, we spoke to you about our progress and got some more insight into the technical limitations, most notably the lack of an account feature for the person scanning, requiring them to type out their own email every time they want to send themselves a note, and that the current type form limits only 1 question per page. In a busy public setting like the helpful hour, this can cause some social friction. Through our discussion, we discovered that Google Forms and Airtable are possible alternatives, and so we began looking at some new prototypes. Users were near universal in their approval of a 1-page form for the tool, so reducing the time spent with the tool was critical. So back to the drawing board. We set about making some new iterations for solutions that followed these new constraints, and based our discussion looking at Google Forms and Airtable as solutions. This example focused on the latter, putting the scanned person's name up front and center, along with a link to their LinkedIn account to offer the user instant gratification. That's the farthest one to the left, idea 1. With idea 2, we also offer a list of topics like we checked off, and space for a note that they can fill out, much like the original version of the tool. This is send an email to the user the next day, fulfilling the goal of assisting with connection. Alternatively, the LinkedIn link could be paired with the share function at the end of the form, again, like the original. The third idea we had on the right was to put the link at the bottom of the page so users can get directly to their partner's LinkedIn, but with the placement encouraging them to fill out the form first. This prototype right here used Google Forms, and like Airtable, was able to reduce the number of pages in the name tag tool to just one. At the same time, it can offer the ability to share notes, apply your own email, and give an alternate email for the scanned person to be emailed as well. Regardless of the platform, an update we think would be helpful to the Helpful Hours attendees would be an email informing them of their experience using the name tag tool. You already have an email incorporated into your service plan that contacts all attendees the next day to thank them for their attendance. This is sent alongside a personalized note emails from the name tag tool. We propose that in your universally sent email, you include a section identifying those who both you scanned and who scanned you. This allows people who didn't finish using the name tag tool to get still be rewarded for their initial engagement, while serving as a reminder they can make use of it in the future. So let's put this all together. We've been talking for a while about the steps you can be taken to improve attendee satisfaction at the HealthTech Hang Helpful Hours. But let's recap the most important parts of the service plan. People have requested that some assistance find the venue, which could be helped with directions and photos in email or text, and prominent signs out front. At the same time, people would like some guidance to help them mingling once they're at the event. This can be addressed with a short script for those entering the event and recapped about halfway through with instructions how they can use the updated name tag tool to connect to LinkedIn and give context for their meeting. In addition, signs can give people social cues to motivate them to talk to one another. Once people are mingling, they can connect with the name tag tool using the new streamlined design to expedite the process. And after a fun night out meeting other professionals, they'll be greeted the next day with reminders of the previous night's connections, now with a more professional mindset. This is just our info for the Helpful Hour, and we're well aware that HealthTech Hang offers a variety of social and educational events. Based on the feedback we got, we also like to identify some info we gleaned from interviews regarding the types of events people would like. We received feedback of attendees are interested in educational events, suitable topics including AI integration to clinician training and issues regarding healthcare access. In addition, we learned there are no clear trends for attendees if they prefer specifically guided or unguided events. But a common comment received was that people do like to have that guided introduction to hangout events to get them talking before afterwards moving on to their own socialization. On top of this, we have our considerations for the Helpful Hour that will improve satisfaction. Moving to a lanyard instead of a name tag makes it more versatile in a crowded environment. People can hold them up rather than have to deal with social awkwardness associated with requesting access to someone's chat. Our interviewees also expressed wishing to be able to identify other attendees based on the role they registered with. Investors are looking for founders, students are looking for clinicians. The name tag would be a great place to identify people, particularly through a color. We recommend giving attendees the option to pick up a sticker, put on their name tag to help people identify them by their roles. We compare this with signs around the venue to act as starting points for attendees. They start mingling with their peers, and you can use written prompts as icebreakers. Once attendees are acclimated, they can be encouraged to move around to other groups if they haven't already, fulfilling their request for a guided intro to an open networking event. We have a more detailed list for ideas in addition to this later on. We showed you a number of solutions that can improve the adoption of the name tag tool among attendees, and we know you have a preference for gathering information from your users while allowing them to connect. We believe that all these versions would increase your completion rate with the name tag tool connections due to their reduced length, but the best balance of gathering info and completion rate remains to be seen based on how these perform at your events. Lastly, on behalf of Dan and Jansen, I'd like to thank you, Harry, for offering us this opportunity to try our skills in a practical situation. We provide a situation where we not just need to develop a digital solution, but evaluate an entire process from start to finish, and find a real-world way to get that a physical experience can be improved. It presented us with a unique situation where we need to examine the issue from multiple angles, from both the user and service provider perspective, which helped us understand the significant scope of work we'll be working with professionally. It made us re-examine the intricacies of networking communication, made us reevaluate our own networking techniques, and how they function when put in the context of a larger professional group. Like Jansen said at the beginning of this presentation, we may gain more digital tools to improve our lives as time goes on, but we innately desire a face-to-face experience when building relationships. Thank you.